Woke up. Wake you up. Wake that ass up. Program your alarm to Power 105.1 on iHeartRadio.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Loren LoRosa's here. And we got a special guest in the building. We have Isaac Hayes III. Good morning, brother.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good.
Blessed, black, and highly favored. How you, my brother?
I am excellent. I am highly favored and blessed as well.
So what are we doing today, Isaac? What we doing? What
What do you mean what we doing? We're closing this round for Fanbase. We're closing this equity crowdfund for Fanbase. It closes today. I feel like this is a great opportunity for everybody to give an investment as a gift for people. I've been here before, talked about the importance of investing, but especially with social media, I think we really need to galvanize right now at this time because the world is shifting. And so I'm telling everybody to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest to own equity in the company. $3.99 is the minimum investment, but it's a bigger story than just investing in Fanbase.
So when people ask the question, they say, okay, you raised millions of dollars for Fanbase. They may want to invest. Walk us through line by line how that capital gets deployed.
So, number one, infrastructure. So we just built a brand new algorithm. We spent almost half the year working on that. We have some new key hires. All of this capital gets deployed in hiring better people, like really people that used to work at Meta, that used to work at TikTok, that used to work at Snapchat, and those salaries aren't cheap. We also have to hire engineers to build what we're building and develop those products, and it takes time. Honestly, the amount of capital that I've raised over a 5-year period, some people get deployed 5 times that capital in 1 year, and they burn it all and they go out of business. And so we've had to really stretch. You know how they say, mama say you make the money stretch, make the food stretch.
Yeah.
We've had to really make this capital stretch with this company, but it's a testament to our ability to spend wisely, hire effectively, and continue to build the best product.
No, I agree with you because we see these tech companies, they get crazy donations all the time, raise a lot of capital, a lot more capital than you have. How much have you raised over the last 5 years?
$23 million.
$23 million. I'm not gonna say that's nothing because it is something.
Right.
But compared to the other tech companies, they get $100 million in a month.
Man, listen. Some of these companies have raised like $150, $300 million and have not built but one feature, and they're not even around anymore. And that's because they blow the money. It's really tough for black founders. People don't understand, like, black founders get less than half of 1% of all capital raised. They don't want DEI. They're not trying to give us money. And especially someone like myself that is disrupting the tech space and building something that we can own. And then, black people are on the side of ownership. Like, we don't own nothing. I know we talk about a lot of this, a lot about building generational wealth and, those types of things, but we don't own the sports teams. We don't own the record labels, and we don't own, Hollywood, and we help build up all of these infrastructures, and we don't own them. In social media, we help build up social media, and they tell us to kiss they behind, and they don't want DEI and all that kind of stuff. And so, for me, this is a mission. This has been my mission, will continue to be my purpose and my calling, to continue to build this company, allow us to finally have the infrastructure of something that can be worth hundreds of billions of dollars and pull us all up and give us opportunity.
We do have to acknowledge the black people who do own things, though. I think I've heard you say that before, but I think the urban ones of the world, Kathy Hughes, Worldwide Technology, there's you play things like Uncle Nearest, like there's a lot of things that black people do own.
Yeah, but look what's happening. But look what's happening in a lot of these spaces. A lot of these companies either don't get the capital that they need, they're handcuffed in what they're able to do, and you really just name like 3 businesses out of like 500,000.
Oh, I can keep going. I mean, there's hundreds of black-owned businesses. I'm just saying, like I think sometimes we put that narrative out there, and I think we got to be more specific. Like black people can own more in the tech space for sure, but we do own things.
Yeah, but the biggest problem about it, Isaac and Charlamagne, I feel is sometimes we talk to people like they should know, right? A lot of these businesses that are getting these millions and 20 million and 50 million and raising $150 million are investors that have the money and know why they're investing and hopefully know where their money's going. But for like somebody like you, Isaac, who who's been on the Breakfast Club a numerous times and asking for money for crowdfunding, I think people want to know where that money is going and why. Break it down on a level where people will understand and what's next for Fanbase. No, but the reason I'm asking, and break it down for what Fanbase is and how much money is needed to make sure this gets to the place of a Meta or a Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, because you have to tell people like what's the overall goal and what's needed to Fanbase is self-sufficient, so we don't have that, or will it always be a thing like that for people that don't understand and don't know?
No, I think to explain how capital is deployed is it's kind of what I said earlier. Tech companies are not, social media platforms are not cheap, right?
Correct.
And so there's two things. It's how fast you can build, how well you can build, you know what I'm saying? And so if you don't have capital to build the right product, then it's not gonna happen. So we have salaries, we have infrastructure,
Correct.
We have all the tech stack, all the things that we do. Like we employ about 40 people. We have a lot of C-suite executives that are working, and all this stuff is built and rolled into a company that is trying to fight the fight against major tech corporations. Now, to explain what Fanbase is and understand why that it costs what it costs,
Yep.
Fanbase is basically social media through the lens of Black ownership, but the functionality is the same, right? We do have posts, we have stories, we have live, we have short form, we have long form, we have audio chat, we have an algorithm, we have DMs, we have subscriptions, we have tipping. All of those parts are put together in one platform, right? And integrated so that people can have the ability to monetize their content from the moment that they sign up, build community. And when you compare Fanbase, and I'll tell anybody to do this, compare Fanbase to your experience that you get on a TikTok or experience that you get on an Instagram, and just grade us based off that. But remember that those companies have 30,000 engineers and have, billions of dollars of capital. And here we are, building up from the ground up from scratch with a small team, and we're still here. And I think that's really the most important part. And then the things that we're actually breaking, we're actually breaking the opportunity for Black people to get into the microdrama space, for users to actually monetize their data and have it trained by AI if they want to. But on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they're training off your data right now and not paying you anything. And so this is a real challenge, but it's a lot of moving pieces and parts that come together to make this machine run.
How many months of runway does Fanbase currently have?
We have about 18 months of runway, a little bit longer than that. That gives it, and you understand, even in that amount of time, there's so much that you have to accomplish in that period of time, because you're always going to be raising capital. I think the difference between what I do and what everybody else is, you publicly hear that I'm raising all the time. But startups are raising all the time, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million. But it usually comes from VCs and private equity, and those deals aren't always made public. This is made public because the people that are investing are not the rich guys and the billionaires and the oligarchs. Correct. It's you, it's me, it's the people that we know that are putting their money into the business. And so that's why it's so public and you see everything all the time.
So when you say people are investing, so you say the minimum investment is $399. So if somebody invests that $399, what percentage are of the company, or how much of an investment are they getting? What's the ROI on that for somebody who, because it's tough out there. But so if somebody wants to give $399, they want to know what they're getting back.
Yeah. So every investment that you make, especially in an early stage company, you ride the life of the investment.
Correct.
So you're here from the beginning all the way till we either IPO or somebody acquires the company. So you see, like if Warner Brothers is about to get acquired, and that's a different scenario, but when that company is acquired, the shareholders in that company will all be bought out, right? And then Netflix or whoever will acquire that company. So when you do early stage investing like that in seed startups, that's what you get. And so for $399, you're getting a small piece of the company. But the upside of what I tell people is that the value in which these tech companies get to is where you see a return on your investment. So we're valued at $160 million right now. I want to put that in perspective of what Meta is valued at. Meta is a $1.9 trillion company. So you think about 1.6 billion, 16 billion, 160 billion, that's 1,000x return. So someone that invests $3.99, even if we get to something that is 10 times less valuable than Meta, 5 times less valuable than TikTok and Instagram, that's still 1,000x return on the type of investment that you're putting in there. And that's the part that people don't understand. When you invest in any business, they tell you like 15% is an amazing return on an investment. Mm-hmm. And I didn't raise capital this way to give somebody 15% back. I didn't want somebody to put in $400, right, and give $440 back. I'm not doing it for that, or $445 back. That's not what I'm doing. I'm investing. I built a tech company so that people could put $400 in, $250 in, and together we build something that can be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. That's still far below what other tech companies have, and exit that company. And then at that time, we're distributing generational wealth to our people because it's tech. The fastest way to grow wealth right now currently is in the tech space, and you can't save your way to wealth. You have to invest. We don't think a lot about investing nowadays. We're not really thinking about, putting our money into things that we can see a long return. They will tell us to go do prize picks and gamble and play the lottery and go to Vegas. Like that's all that. All of that is the stuff that they push on people of color. No one in these other rooms, people are getting together quietly and saying, hey, put your money in this startup, put your money in that startup. And they're not telling the average person to do this kind of thing because that's the lockout. They want the access to the best deals. All the VCs and investors want the access to the best opportunity to invest. And so that's why this is important. This is breaking a whole system down that a lot of people don't. I've seen more people now use equity crowdfunding, especially people of color, since I started. And I was one of the first people to really start doing this and have major success at it. Now everybody does equity crowdfunding. I've seen startups and I've introduced multiple people to equity crowdfunding because it's a way to circumvent the racism, the discrimination, and all the things that exist. And so that's why it's important.
So when should investors reasonably expect a return, and in what form would that ROI look like?
So that ROI would be probably 8 years. I always say 6 to 8 years is when you invest, right? And you see a return. Like prime example again, like Uber had seed investment in 2010. In 2019, they went public. So it took 9 years. But the people that invested in that 9-year period saw a 5,000x return, right, on that investment. And those are people that put $5,000 in and saw $24 million come back, right? And so any early stage company, you would think between 6 to 9 years, you would get a return on your investment. And then how that happens is through a liquidity event. And the liquidity event is somebody either buys the company, like somebody says, okay, we're going to buy Fanbase at a higher valuation than it was before, or we go public, which is still selling the company. And that's when you ring the bell on the stock market and everybody can sell their shares that day, and that's when money comes in and people and buy shares. And so that's how it works.
Now, hold on now. You said 5 to 6 years. So people are going to be looking like, wait a minute, I put money in back in 2019, 2020. So you sure
we didn't really raise capital. We didn't close our first round till 2021.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. We didn't close our first round till 2021. And also those are people that get like VC dollars, Charlamagne. That's what I'm saying. Like people don't understand how incredibly hard this is, but I love it because it's the biggest challenge of my life, and we're being successful at it. And we'll continue to be successful, but man, this is an amazing a journey and process for me. But yeah, this is hard.
Well, it's also teaching. It's also teaching because we talk about generational wealth, and it talks about some of the times where people don't understand because we've never been taught. It's not like we've had millions and millions of dollars passed down from generations like other backgrounds have. So it's also a teaching method, right? So you're teaching people what it means to crowdsource and to get money and to put money down and how much money you can get back. So it's also a matter of teaching. So answering the question shouldn't be really a problem because you're teaching a generation that might not know.
No, absolutely. That's why I consistently have told other people to actually invest, right? And I mean, other people to use equity crowdfunding. I've helped 5 or 6 other companies raise through equity crowdfunding and told them about equity crowdfunding. And that's a really good thing because it's an alternative to Black people going to banks, an alternative for Black people trying to get loans and trying to ask go for venture dollars or angel investing where those deals can be predatory. A lot of what I do is disruptive because of what I knew coming from the music business, right? So I knew that I had to create 2 classes of stock and make sure that no one else has voting shares because that's when people try to force you out of your company, right? And I knew that the deals that you get from angel investors are sometimes predatory. So somebody gives me $200,000 to invest in Fanbase. When I first had the idea, they get 20% of the company. And I put my own $200,000 in it. So I saved that 20%, right?
Gotcha.
So those are the things that most people don't know, because a lot of my friends that are founders got forced out of their companies. They got taken advantage of. They got in bad deals that don't allow them to raise capital from other people. So it's a dirty game. It's not as dirty as the music business, but for me, it's something that I was very, very familiar with, because I know, a lot of founders just come in with a great idea, and then they get some guys in there like, yeah, here's $500,000, but I want a board seat and XYZ and all that kind of stuff, and you get voted out of the company. Ask Stacey Sparks. I don't know if you've ever seen MoviePass, but the guys that invented MoviePass were two black guys. They took in capital, they had board seats, they got voted out of their own company. The guys ran up a huge bill on MoviePass and destroyed the whole company, some white dudes. And that's what I'm saying, is like, that's what happens when we try to build our businesses. It's very, very predatory, but it's going to be harder, and it's going to take longer, but it's going to be well worth it, because people can follow my blueprint and do exactly what I did. And I'm paving that way so that you can own your company, not get voted out. Have as much equity as you possibly can to give yourself the ability to raise more capital. All that stuff is important.
Because you're not doing it the VC way, right? You have everyday people giving like smaller amounts of money. When you do scale, right? So after you hit that profit margin and people, maybe some VCs or whatever come in, how do you stay connected to the everyday people, like people that are listening to the Breakfast Club, who might not understand what it means when a company goes public or when they're acquired, like anything that you plan to do once you hit certain points of, return?
Well, we're connected to our investors all the time. We have over 29,000 investors in Fanbase. We have communications that are updated all the time. We send out newsletters. We talk on the app. We send out updates through the Start Engine page, where when you invest in Fanbase, that's where you can always find your shares. So we're in constant communication with our investors. They see the progress of the company. They see new hires. They see new releases. They see everything that's going on with what we're doing. We have to be extremely transparent about all this stuff, because this is an SEC regulated raise. All these things, are above board. So they follow the journey, and then a lot of them use the app. A lot of them are on Fanbase. And that's the really cool part about it too, is a lot of them are using the platform, and a lot of them have used Fanbase for what it's intended to do, which is to passively make money by using social media, and have actually made the money back by using Fanbase that they invested in the company. So people have made thousands of dollars, just getting loves and getting subscriptions on Fanbase, and they've already invested in the company for free. Because, that's the future of social media. Social media is the new TV, right? And we are all our own channels in these communities, and that we'll be able to monetize without disruption, without middlemen, and be able to scale our businesses, or scale our pages, or scale our talent, or our platform, or our ideas without people interrupting. And that's the disruptive part about social media and Fanbase right now.
Let me ask you a question, Isaac. If no clear liquidity event is on the horizon, why should investors, stay in?
Well, I'll say this. A lot of platforms don't have liquidity events. They can't guarantee when they will go public, right? But that's what an investment is. It's limited risk, though. When in these other instances, when people are putting their money into these companies, and they're investing, especially accredited investors, they have to put $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 just to be allowed to sit on the cap table. And they don't get any guarantee on when that liquidity event is going to happen. They don't know if those businesses are going to be successful, and they still put that money in, because the upside is that's the risk. Now, if you want to put your money into the stock market and let it sit and maybe double and triple over the next 25 years, yes. But if we want to escape the generational wealth gap that exists for people of color and black people in this country, we have to aggressively invest in tech startups that can scale to hundreds of billions of dollars. We're not getting out if we don't do that. I'm being 100%. You can't retail invest your way about a lot of this stuff. The people that put their money into NVIDIA 15, 20 years ago are the people that are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars. And people never saw NVIDIA coming, but somebody believed, and those are the people that are just believers in Fanbase the same way. Anybody that you see that exits a company like this and that makes millions and millions of dollars, they're the people that were like, man, that's a dumb idea. You shouldn't invest in that. Every corporation that you can think of, every Uber, every Instagram, every NVIDIA, all of them where people were like, man, that's not going to work. That's stupid. But that small group of people that believe, that actually had the opportunity to invest, are the ones that wind up winning in the long term. And so that's what it is. There is no platform, no startup will ever guarantee you a liquidity event. Like to this day, the ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, is still a privately held company. They've never gone public, and they're worth $400 billion. Now, that means people probably found a way out somehow to exit, but I don't plan on keeping Fanbase a privately held company in perpetuity because of the fact that we have investors that can see a return. So the company at some point will go public or will get acquired, and that's the energy behind it. It's taking our capital and our culture and then scaling it to a point that we can exit.
That's dope. So if it does not reach profitability or the liquidity event within whatever amount of years, what is the plan B for the investor capital? It's to continue to raise capital until you eclipse that. The unfortunate part about that is that other businesses will get funded infinitely until they raise that capital, right? They'll keep putting money into it. Even like, you got to think about this. Even something like Netflix. Netflix is about to acquire Warner Brothers, right, for $80 billion. Mm-hmm. They took out a $63 billion loan just to acquire that. A lot of these companies aren't necessarily profitable. When you dig into what it is, that's why for me, it's harder because I'm doing it the right way. I'm doing it the way that's actually harder, and we're not playing games with investors. It's like you really have an opportunity to sit and scale the business, right, by being part of the company. So for us, every person that's actually using Fanbase and on Fanbase has the ability to scale the company too. If it doesn't happen, you raise more money. You raise capital, you continue to do that. That's why I say, for me, coming on here and having public conversations about raising capital, there are people that are in round J, right? Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D, Series E, right? And it just continues to raise and raise and raise and raise, right? And so this is really this is still our seed round. We haven't even raised a series. When I do a Series A is when I raise 50 million or 100 million at one time, right? Someone cuts a check for 50 million, 100 million, or a group of people. That's a Series A. Now we're talking. Now we got engineers working around the sun and building, and I'm really competitive, especially with agentic AI and agents and being able to code. AI is really helping us actually stay competitive. Without it, it would be a lot harder because now we can use AI to code, AI to do QA, AI to develop, all those things. And so it's a lot. It gives us, this is the time for us right now to actually be involved in scaling the business because we have AI to help us scale. I'm not big on AI content creation, but scaling is important. And what do those microdramas look like? That's going to start on Q1 in February.
So if you don't know what microdramas are movies that are chopped into 2-minute segments with cliffhangers at the end of each of these. They are very popular platforms in China. It's the microdrama industry has eclipsed the film and television industry. And when I started looking at this about 8-9 months ago, I went on these microdrama platforms and I noticed they were owned by Chinese corporations and all the content was white content. And I said, if we don't come in and distribute microdramas and make it so that multicultural people can distribute microdramas, so we have black microdramas, Latin microdramas, African microdramas, somebody's going to corner that market that doesn't look like us, make billions of dollars. And these are the same people that said they didn't want DEI and they didn't want black people and they didn't want diversity and they didn't want equity and they didn't want inclusion. So for me, I said it's easier for us to distribute microdramas on Fanbase because we already have the components of what a microdrama is. A microdrama is just vertical, short form video, currency that unlocks episodes, subscriptions, and an algorithm. We already have all 4 of those. And so it made perfect sense to partner with Ty Walker and Keisha Perry Walker with Wild Peach Studios to produce. They're going to produce microdramas, and Fanbase will distribute those microdramas. And when I tell you my phone has been ringing, I went to Tyler Perry's Christmas party this weekend. Everybody that I talked to that was black, they was like, yo, what's up with these microdramas? Because the microdrama industry is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry. But the question is, who's going to own it? And who's going to own the infrastructure of the platforms that actually produce and distribute those microdramas? And Fanbase is going to be one of those in 2026. And so it's just don't even listen to me. Research microdramas. I just got like Kim Kardashian, everybody's getting into microdramas. But there's one thing that's different is that they're building microdrama apps. And all those microdrama apps have a retention problem. Once you see a microdrama, you leave. What gets people to stay? So when microdramas are built into an app that's already built to hold all media, then the retention is a lot higher, right? And there's more things to do. You don't want to watch a microdrama then leave, right? You can watch a microdrama and then get right back over to your feed and see news or see your friends or see all, the content that you see or create content yourself. And that's what we're doing. And make it, be very, very clear that social media is the new television. If you do not think that all media will be distributed through large social networks in the future, which is almost now, you're sadly mistaken. And so that's why I built Fanbase. I built Fanbase to contain all media. I built this platform so that it can hold podcasts, it can hold music, it can hold audiobooks, audio rooms, short form, long form. That's the long game because that's where everything is going. Like a TV on a wall is done for these days, right? You know what I'm saying? It's either your phone, your tablet, or your laptop because the screen is mobile and you can watch the content when you want, not at 8 o'clock in front of my living room. That changes everything because now your content can get billions of views as opposed to millions of views because you have to be somewhere at a certain time in front of a certain device.
Do you think Quibi was too early when they launched?
Well, Quibi wasn't Microdramas.
It wasn't?
That's the thing about it. That was vertical series, right?
Yeah.
Quibi was not Microdramas. And be clear, Microdramas are an art form. So anybody out there that's interested in doing microdramas, don't think that just taking a movie and chopping it up into segments is what a microdrama is. You have to study the art form. They're written, right? They're produced, written, and directed a very, very specific way that keeps the audience engaged. It is not just taking a movie up and chopping it up.
So it's not just short form content. Quibi was just short form content. Okay.
That's just short form content. And there are other platforms that have been doing that. But
microdramas are good, and they've been popping up. I've been seeing them on different feeds, and they're very interesting, right? Very entertaining. The only problem I have with it, and this would be good, is they usually just pop up on your feed, right? And they're very entertaining, but you never know how to get back to it. Right, so you'll watch 2 minutes and it'll be something very stupid or very simple, but it'll be entertaining. But then you just never know how to get back to it. You know what I mean? So the fact that you can get back to it and understand it is dope.
How do you
just said something key, right? You just said something really, really key. You have to leave wherever they advertise at. So let's say you're on Instagram or TikTok. You have to leave TikTok or Instagram, go download the Microdrama app, and then finish watching the rest of what you're watching. You're not going to have to do that on Fanbase. It's going to be in the feed. So if you see a Microdrama in your feed, you can watch it, and you're already inside the app. That's what I mean by these apps have a retention problem. That's why I was like, okay, good. I want everybody to go out there and make another 40 Microdrama apps and split the audience in a million different directions while we have microdramas built inside a community of people that are already there.
But how do you compete with, because like I can't think of her name right now. I was trying to text my friend to get her name. I follow a girl. She's been doing it for almost like 6 years, and it like skyrocketed her now. She's working with Issa Rae. She's been doing microdramas just on Instagram. Like before reels were even a thing. It's just literally about how you cut your content and make the episode the next one, the next one. How do you compete where people already are with making them come over to Fanbase to do it? They're already on platforms doing it. Like a lot of creators do it.
No, because again, specifically the microdrama industry, they're next to no black microdramas. Like I'll give you.
I've never seen a black microdrama.
I'm gonna send y'all this girl. She's fire. I know Issa works with her now. I just don't know her Instagram name, but she was early. She has a microdrama. It's kind of like Devil Wears Prada, but it's like the young black girl moves to LA version of it, and it's like episodic and every like.
Yeah, I'll
send y'all her. But yeah,
that's a vertical series. Again, that's different. That's like taking a TV show and making it vertical. When I mean microdramas are an art form, I promise you, it is not. It is like very, very specific. They're shot in these 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes is a cliffhanger. Every 2 minutes, something dramatic happens, and it escalates over the course of the hour and a half that happens. And so these microdramas are getting 200 million views, right?
Yeah.
Like the most watched movie on Netflix this year was the K-pop Demon Hunters, the anime movie, right?
People love that.
That got 140 million views, right? That got 140 million views. The number one microdrama in Asia, in China, in 2025, got 500 million views, right? 500 million. That means like like 500 million people watched a microdrama in China, one show, right? And that's what I mean by the art form it's a lot different. Like if you go to any of the microdrama apps, just listen to what I'm saying. Go download any of the apps, Real Short, Drama Box, all of them, right? Go on there. You'll see all white people or all Asian people. And my point is that you're not going to see a bunch of black microdramas, right? And the point that I'm making is that they're going to start producing microdramas, but who owns the actual production company of the microdramas? Like when you get on Real Short looks like a white company. It's Crazy Maple Studio, Real Short. That's owned by a Chinese company. It's the same thing they did with TikTok. It's like who owns it on the back end? And we're at a point right now in society, the nutrition facts matter. Who owns the platforms that you use? We know that Fox owns Tubi. World Star Hip Hop is not owned by anybody black, but black people are on there every day. And so when we're creating content and entertaining the masses, right, who sits on the cap table and who owns it is also very, very important. That's why I say I'm making sure that black people own the infrastructure of microdrama distribution, because if not, we're just going to be giving our content back to other platforms again, and then when they get big enough, they'll stop making our microdramas and tell us to kiss their behind, like they did on Tubi, like they did on the WB, like they did on UPN, the CW, like they did with blaxploitation films, right, in the 70s. Blaxploitation films saved Hollywood, right? Shaft, The Mac, Superfly. They brought Hollywood back from the brink of bankruptcy. And then when they got back on their feet, they didn't make those movies anymore. Thank you for saving us. Boom. So I'm intentional about the fact that we have to own the infrastructure of the microdrama community of social media because we contribute so much.
I just wanted to mention her name because I didn't say it earlier. Her name is Candace Banks, and it's called Thanks, Candace Banks. Okay. But I don't know if it's considered a microdrama or not, but I thought it was what you were talking about. But just wanted to
like even as successful as Country Wayne is, that's like a micro soap opera. Like, you know, to put what he's doing in perspective, in the month of November, Country Wayne showed that he got 1 billion views in the month of November on all his content on Facebook. 1 billion views, right? And so what I mean is the ability for large amounts of people to consume content, multiple different types of content, especially in the microdrama space in 2026, we have to own the market. You know, because Country Wayne doesn't own Facebook. He's making money off the ad revenue, but imagine he owns the actual productions and the infrastructure of what he's doing on those platforms. Again, I tell him to stay on Facebook because he's so successful, but there are a lot of people that have been reaching out that are saying, hey, look, a lot of people that, you know, we all know that are in TV and film, actors, producers, writers that are like, yo, we need to talk about this because we have to own these industries.
So how did they invest?
They go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. That's, startengine.com/fanbase. The minimum is $399. Our raise closes today. Raise is over. That's it. After the raise closes today, I've been here before and been able to raise an enormous amount of capital, especially on my first time here. And so I'm letting people know that the importance of investing and having platforms like this, and thank you guys for allowing me to come on here and inform the community about the opportunity to do this. Is important. So startengine.com/fanbase to invest. The minimum is $399. You get 60 shares of stock in Fanbase, and you will own the infrastructure of social media and microdramas in the future.
All right. Well, thank you, Isaac Hayes. The third, we
thank you
appreciate
guys.
you. And it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?